Well, it's the holiday season again, and that means that I'm rewatching Smash, and every year I demand more justice for Ivy Lynn. Join me, won't you? And this is part 4. Today you're going to have to forgive my green screen shots because we've decorated for Christmas. But episode 4 is called The Cost of Art, and in this episode we are entering the rehearsal room for the first time. All the ensemble is here, and they seem very upset that Karen Cartwright is in the ensemble. Oh, and in this episode we meet the replacement brunette boy. Watch as this young man fades into the background. Seriously, he becomes part of the staff. And in walks our star, Ivy Lynn. Late, sunglasses, bag, scarf. She's very fabulous. Everyone just bursts into applause, even Karen. She's so gracious. Look at that. We then go to the office where Eileen is sitting with some investors or something. She's lost funding again, and she's very disappointed because she was only asking for $200,000, which honestly doesn't seem like that much. But they're like, no, not at all. No. We're back in rehearsal, and we see that Ivy Lynn is delighted to see her very old friend Sam has been hired for the show, and he is played by the inimitable, original, delicious Leslie Odom Jr. Get ready for another desperate plot line. Girl, when I say you ain't ready. Allow me to bring it down for just a minute here, because there are people in the comments being like, no, Ivy Lynn did act shady, and like, I know that you don't want to villainize her, but she did act shady. She did. And I'm not going to deny that, okay? Oh my God, in this episode, it really shows. But I also think that she was pushed. She's an insecure woman raised by that mother, that horror show of a mother who never made her feel worse. She's now dating Derek Wills, which can't be good for that woman's spirit. The very nature of being an actor in and of itself is you constantly questioning if you're good enough. I'm not saying that her behavior is okay. Okay? I'm just saying that I understand. All of that to say that Ivy is not happy that Karen Cartwright is in the chorus. Back in the office again, middle of the day. Julia and Eileen are just drinking whiskey, and Eileen asks Julia how much would she pay for this painting if it were an original Degas. And Julia's like, bitch, this is a real Degas. Degas is like an artist who did paintings and also some sculptures of dancers. I mean, they're really quite beautiful. And like also as like a theater nerd, you know, I love those paintings. Anyway, we kind of get an idea that Eileen is thinking about selling this painting, you know, to fund the show. 1%ers, you know, they always have something to sell. Eileen sold diamonds in the beginning of this episode. She's like, what am I going to do? I'm destitute. Okay, I'm just going to go sit in the rolls and cry. Back in rehearsal, we're learning the choreography to I Never Met a Wolf Who Didn't Love to Howl. I didn't know that was the title of the song. That seems really long. I never met a wolf who didn't love. Karen's happy. Everyone's happy. They're all having a great time. Everyone except Ivy, because apparently Karen is right next to her in the choreography. And when I tell you that this would never, ever... Okay, listen to me, all right? Catherine McPhee is 90 feet tall. She would never, ever, ever be in the front. Never, ever, ever, ever. Oh my God, let me show you. Look at her. She is covering up all of the dancers behind her because she is 1,000 feet tall. There is no logical reason to put her in the front, especially right next to Ivy. No choreographer in their right mind. Okay, end of rant. For now. Now the actors are on their break, and it looks like Karen's a little bit over by herself, but this is where she finds out that Ivy Lynn is actually sleeping with Derek. She's incensed. And then, I don't know, I'm not a New Yorker, so if you're from New York, you have to tell me, because this really feels like tourist behavior, but I don't know, maybe it's not. Tom and Ivy have lunch in the middle of Times Square in those super uncomfortable red tables. Is that something New Yorkers do? It just doesn't feel real. But Ivy takes this moment to complain about Karen being in the chorus and being too loud. So Tom is eyeballing it and Derek is eyeballing it, you know, and they stop the rehearsal and they kick Karen and replacement brunette out of the song. Right. There's this whole other plot line happening in this episode. Totally forgot about it. There's this kid that everybody knows, and his name is Lyle, and he was apparently hired to be in Oliver years and years and years. Eileen was there, Derek was there, Tom was there, everybody was there. Now this kid's like a huge TV star, and his show's just gone into syndication, so he's very, very, very rich. And it's his birthday, so Derek is throwing him a birthday party. And he's even invited his nemesis, Tom, right? Okay, so that's what's happening here. He doesn't want to go. He says he has a date with like some guy that his mother set him up with. Super unimportant. We're back in rehearsal, and we're learning my favorite song, History is Made at Night. And yet again, Ivy is upset because Karen is too loud. And with literally no question, they just kick Karen out of the song. I really feel like that just wouldn't happen. Like, wouldn't the musical director be, I mean, listen, I'm not on Broadway. Is that how it's literally impossible not to feel bad for Karen here? Okay. I'm on your side if you're like a Karen truther. Like, only right now though. Karen is crying in the hallway and Jessica comes out to check on her and she's like, you're fucking horrible. She didn't say the F word. And here's what I said. Remember when I said that she's going to throw it back in her face that she could have slept with him too? I could have done that. I could have slept with him. Jessica decides to do like a good deed because when someone needs a makeover, she simply has to take over. We take her to La Duca, which is like a shoe store for dance. Sell these kind of like character shoes. Let me move over. Like these ones right here. They're very expensive. Like they're really, really good for dancers, but like they're very, very expensive. Karen just casually lays her visa down. These three are now like teaching her the appropriate way to be dressed for rehearsal. Like you dress this way and then you come in, you go to the bathroom, you change into your sweat. It's a whole thing. Back at Ivy's apartment, we are here with our friend Sam, who is very upset because the Mets have no pitching this season. And this is what I was talking about. Remember when I said that there was going to be a desperate plotline in this episode? Don't worry, it's going to haunt us for like most of the season. But just remember, you know, that Sam likes sports. Ivy comes in this stunning Zach Posen number and these super high heels. She looks amazing because she's going to Derek's party. Now we're at Karen's apartment and they're just like pulling clothes out of her closet. Replacement brunette says they're doing an intervention. They all meet Dev. They think he's hot. A bunch of stuff happens here that I did not take good pictures of. But the party is in full swing over at Lyle's place. I thought it was going to be at Derek's, but it's not. It's at Lyle's place. Eileen is there and like she's brought the day off. Very first thing that she does is like try to get this kid's money. He's like, why are you selling the painting? The painting is beautiful. And she's like, I need to fund the show. And he's like, well, I'd like to invest in the show, but I need to see what I'm investing in. It's at that point that like Ivy Lynn walks into the party, you know, and she looks fabulous and the party is fabulous. And Lyle is fabulous because he's played by this Jonas. I don't know, is it Nick Jonas? It's all very fancy. But suddenly Eileen is in a panic. She's like, okay, Julia, we need to get Tom here. We need to get cast members here. You know, we need to get everybody here. And everybody comes so that they can perform I Never Met a Wolf Who Didn't Love to Howl, which is way too long of a title. Tom even does the thing where he turns to the band and says, watch me for the changes. It's in G. It's great. It's wonderful. Ivy does wonderful. And you know what? For some reason, Ellis is also in it. This is where I think I mentioned that the original brunette boy is on the staff. There he is on the staff. Cater waiter. It's amazing and everybody having a great time. Everybody loves it. Lyle loves it. And you know, the song ends and Julia and Michael do this in front of everybody at the party. And Derek is over here flirting with this fabulous queen. Remember when I said that Tom went on a date with somebody that his mom set up with? Well, that's our guy. And he has this really sweet moment where he's just like, oh my God, you're so good. I was like, wasn't the TV star great? And he's like, what TV star? I'm too dazzled by the piano player. It's so cute. But we're back with Karen and all of her new best friends, apparently. They're all at this little bar. I don't know what this bar is, okay? Because it's not a karaoke bar. It's just a regular bar. There's a band, but they're also playing music. I promise that's going to make sense. Ivy confronts Derek about the woman and he's basically like, what are you talking about? She was an investor. Of course I was flirting with her. I'm trying to get her money. And she's like, I just want to feel safe. And he's like, then go back to the chorus. And then they have sex. I'm sorry. He's a piece of he's trash. Basura. Ivy, look at her. Ugh. Miserable. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so like back at Karen's house, they like taught her the choreography to this song because they're trying to teach her how not to stick out, you know, as like a member of the ensemble. No big movements, right? They're back at the bar and they are doing the choreography, as you can see here. Karen, of course, can't help herself. She steps right out. She becomes the star. And when the music slows down, she also has a little solo. But in the end, they're all hugging. They're all best friends. Karen finally has some friends. I'm hoping that you're seeing what I'm saying, right? About like how Ivy is kind of pushed into this position. She doesn't feel safe. And so she's lashing out. You know what I mean? It's all insecurity. I mean, it doesn't excuse it, but it's all insecurity. Still the better Marilyn. Whatever. I'll see you in the next part.